one of the most viewed shorts channels out there for aviators, millions of views. We're going to talk to Jack Snyder one-on-one. Welcome to One-on-One. We're recording this at the Flying Eyes booth at AirVenture 2024. I'm joined by Jack Snyder. Jack, thanks for coming on. It's always good to have you.
Yeah, it's great to see you here.
I'm shaking your hand.
Oh, I didn't see that part. Yeah, I thought you were just gesturing like welcome here.
Okay, now you've been on the channel before.
Yeah.
I still got to say you still look. Maybe instead of 13, you're maybe up to 15.
Hey, there you go. It's an improvement.
So at least you're aging a little bit here.
Yep. Got a little slight stubble,
Yeah. So you haven't shaved what 6 months?
Yep. Growing up.
Yeah. All right. No. So I tease you about that, but you're a successful engineer. Not only that, you've been recruited away from Textron. Now you're at Boeing.
I sure am. And it's nothing against Textron. I really enjoyed my time there. It's a great company. But as it's fairly obvious, I love fighter jets. Fighter jets are kind of my true passion. And so I've made the move over to Boeing, working on the F-15, the T-7, and the F-18 as an aerodynamics engineer. Just a lot of just cool stuff like figuring out the performance of the airplanes when you put something new on the airplane, like a new weapon or a new system or something like that. And then development, some new programs. It's really cool. I'm really liking it.
Okay, specifically, what does a day in the life of an engineer at something like that look like?
Yeah, so right now it's just like any engineering job for the most part, as far as you walk into work and sit down in your cubicle.
You got a cubicle?
Yep, got a cubicle, and I just get to work using all the tools that we have for doing analysis on these airplanes. However, there is going to be a lot of potential for wind tunnel testing soon. We're going to be doing some wind tunnel testing. A bunch of other really cool, a little bit of flight testing. I'm definitely involved in flight testing because, we get a lot of data off the jets from flight tests, and I can go back and help figure out what the performance is going to be from that. So, it's still a cubicle job, but I really, really enjoy it. As far as things you can do in a cubicle, I think it's about the best I can think of for me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of cubicles, how's the tweet going?
Yeah, so the tweet project. So, since I had to move from Wichita to St. Louis, the tweet is actually in my backyard still in a house that I bought in Wichita.
Okay.
So about 7 hours away from St. Louis, and I made my house that's in Wichita into an Airbnb. So it's actually just chilling in the garage of in my backyard, and nobody knows. They just are just chilling at my Airbnb, and if they look in the window, they might be like, "What the heck is in the garage there?" But I'm still able to work on it a little bit, but it's just really hard having to drive 7 hours and then back, and that's not permanent. As soon as I have a place in St. Louis, I'm just in an apartment in St. Louis right now. I need a new backyard for that jet, and so as soon as I buy a house in St. Louis, I'll move the tweet back to St. Louis, and then I can get it going.
How close have you come to getting that engine started?
So basically, since I talked in the Hangar podcast, I actually found some more problems. I'll solve one problem. It's like one step forward and like two steps back. My fuel control unit's busted. All the gaskets are all just shot, and I could, in theory, replace the gaskets and all that, but it's just you can't find parts. I just can't get any parts for the tweet engine because it's a Cessna T-37 from 50s, and there's just not really very many of them flying in the civilian world. There's a couple, but basically I decided I'm going to take that off because fuel control units are, I guess, overrated, and so. I'm going to take the power washer. I have a power washer, and I'm going to hook it up. It uses about the same pressure and flow rate as the fuel control unit.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to use that to inject diesel or jet fuel directly into the engine, and it may or may not work, but I have to have something. I have to get this thing running. Like, I'm going to get it running. I know it's been way too long. Like, there's no reason I should have waited or had 2 years between no running engine and a running engine. But it's just really hard and complicated when the only thing that works on that engine. So actually my starter generator also managed to shell itself in the last couple months. I'm not sure what happened. I think the bearings are bad. So it's getting red hot and just not working. So the problem is I have to basically come up with something for every system on the jet. The only thing that works is it turns. That's literally it. So, and the oil system works good. So I'm still going to get it running, like for sure. It's going to run.
So you have not thrown in shirts, surrendered on
No,
this.
definitely haven't surrendered. And I'm not going to surrender on it until it runs or explodes. That's my promise. I'm going to keep it. Now, I do have a caveat that there's no time frame on this, and it's not going to be 10 years. It'll be less than 10 years. I mean, I'm gonna have it done as soon as I actually think I might.
So maybe by your 20th birthday?
Yes, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, and I'm planning on actually bringing it to my apartment because I can't bring the whole tweet to my apartment, but I think I can fit the engine in my apartment. So,
Of course you can.
You know, in the next, maybe a couple months, I'll bring the tweet engine to the apartment, and it's just gonna be a matter of hooking a few things up and giving it a shot. The other thing, though, is I've got a lot of other projects going on, obviously, that, compete for my, time.
You've been flying L-39s.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've been flying L-39s with some of my friends. I've got friends that have cool jets. And then I have the big projects I've got right now are 2 L-29s. Kind of a funny story about that. And the taking off, or not the taking off, in the Hangar podcast I was on with you, I mentioned that, my goal is eventually to get an L-29 or a couple L-29s and get them flying. Because, I mean, the tweet's fun. It's literally the only goal with the tweet was just to learn and have fun. Like, that's the only goal. It's never going to fly, obviously. It's shot. It's a piece of crap. But the L-29, however, I want to fly. And after your podcast, I had somebody, after I mentioned that, somebody reached out to me via email and said, hey, I've got 2 L-29s. I saw your podcast, saw the podcast. I have 2 L-29s. Do you want to buy them? And I was like, sure, of course. So I bought them for really cheap. And
do we get one because you were found? He found you because.
Hey, I'll give you a ride. I'll give you a ride.
Give me
if
a
you
ride.
want one. I don't know. It might be. We'll see.
I'll wait.
wait till I have a few flights, and then I'll take you on a ride.
I'll take you up on that.
So I ended up buying those out of Dallas. So that was a big process. I had to bring them both from Dallas to Wichita. This is before I moved. So of course I had my 2 L-29s in Wichita, and actually last weekend I got one of them started after 27 years. It hasn't run, and I got it started. And so I do officially have a running jet finally. So,
Yay.
everybody's like, oh, this guy never runs jets. At least I have one running. And the funny part about this whole thing is, like, the L-29 took me about 20 hours to get running. I mean, it's super easy.
Wow.
It was cake. I just had to, pull the tail off, service some systems, and, it fired right up after 27 years. So that kind of highlights the difference between, like, the tweet. And the reason the tweet looks like such a simple project, and everybody's like, oh, that should be, you should have had that fired up a week after you started. It's like, well, I kind of did that with the L-29. Because I had all the parts, and they all worked, and you can get parts for an L-29 because there's a bunch of them flying in the States. So it's a lot easier a project. But that's going to be kind of the big thing going forward is getting that in the air. I need to replace the tires, and I have a front windscreen I need to replace. I have a brand new one, and then I need to do some FAA work to get
Probably a little bit.
Yeah. It's going to take a little bit of FAA work because this airplane's straight out of the container from the Bulgarian Air Force. So it's
I've heard these things are gas guzzlers.
Oh yeah, around
the
100,
29s.
150 gallons an hour, about 160.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fuel. But I mean, the way I look at it, call it $600-ish an hour in fuel. But like, at the end of the day, that's not that bad when you're considering like people will go spend $200,000 on a Bonanza. Like the difference between like $200,000 for the airplane up front costs is like that's like 200 hours of L-29 flying basically.
Right.
So which sounds like maybe not that much, but 200 hours in an L-29 is a lot of L-29 time. So that's what it takes to make up the difference in price. So sounds crazy, and it is, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think it'll be a pretty fun jet to fly, and will be worth the high fuel costs.
Speaking of fun jets to fly, how's your 747?
So the 747 is out in Mojave still. I've been out there, quite a bit. I don't really know what to do with it. I have parts for sale.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do with an entire 747? The problem is it's just so hard to get to because it's out in Mojave, and that's,
you can fly your L-29
Yeah,
out there.
exactly. Yeah, it only costs like $30,000 to fly
Right.
L-29 out and back. But the problem is it's like 2 hours or a long flight to LA. You have to get to LAX for that, and then a long drive and rental cars. So every time I go out there, it's like easily $1,000. So I actually am really hoping to get one closer. I know of a couple just like the one I have out in Mojave that are in KC, which is not far from St. Louis. So I would like to get one of those, but I have so many
Trade a plane.
projects. Yeah, I've got way too many projects going on right now, so that's kind of on the back burner. Maybe get one here and then do more with it because it's just a lot easier to get somewhere with it if you're close to it. And of course, yeah.
Have you been able to sell any of the parts?
Oh yeah. I've sold quite a bit of parts off of it. I've definitely been more than broke even on it, and it's been pretty fun to the real reason I bought that too is just for curiosity. I just wanted to play with it, and
one of my bucket list things is actually fly in a 747.
Oh man, you gotta
I've
do
never
that.
been able to fly in a 747.
Lufthansa, go fly Lufthansa.
I know, but I'm not over in Germany a lot. I've been talking to Captain Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
And he says he can might be able to get me a ride. So I'm
Oh
hoping.
man, that would be fun. That would be really fun. Yeah, I've flown on one once on my way to Riyadh over in Europe.
Oh wow.
And it was an amazing experience.
No, all the international flying I've done the 380.
Yeah,
the Airbus 380 and and 767, 777, 787.
Yeah.
Never been on the 74, and I really
man,
want
what
to.
are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm not living, that's for sure.
You gotta go get on one.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. So next up for you, is what?
So really, I haven't been making a bunch of videos lately. Like I just haven't been posting for this year, just because I've been so busy with the move and a lot of other things. Like the problem I've faced is I work 9 to 5, just like anybody else.
In a cubicle.
And then on the weekends, I always go and do stuff. Like I'm always doing things that would make for great videos. But the problem is I'm not back home editing, and I've got like a backlog of like 20 things that I need to make videos about. And I actually do have a video that's going to be coming out any day now. I'm just waiting on some approval for. I went and flew on the 0G airplane.
Wow.
You know, went and did like what the astronauts would do for training.
Yep.
You know, Boeing 727, which half the reason I wanted to do that was because I wanted to go do 0G stuff. The other half was I wanted to fly on a 727, and where else do you do that? So that's gonna be a pretty cool video. That'll be out like hopefully tomorrow or something.
Did you throw up?
No, I didn't. Actually,
Okay.
they don't have much issue with motion sickness, believe it or not. A lot of people take Dramamine beforehand, and they have the little like shocky bracelets, and there really wasn't any issue with that. It felt so bizarre though. I mean, I thought I knew how I'd feel because like I've flown the extra 300, I've flown 39s, I've been in 0G situations plenty, but it's completely different than I expected. Like actually not being restrained and just floating up, and like it was hard to explain. I think it's worth it for anybody anybody that can afford it. It's expensive, but if you can afford it, I mean, it's the closest way to going to space. I mean, it's really the closest thing you can do to going up there to feel what it's actually like to float. So that video is coming out. I'm going to, of course, have videos about the L-29, moving the L-29 from Dallas, and then also getting it started. That will be some pretty cool video. There's a lot of that going on the last couple weeks, just working on that project. That'll be out in a couple weeks, hopefully. I definitely am like more settled in now than I was the first half of the year, just settled in at Boeing and getting moved and all that. So hopefully the second half of the year I'm gonna start posting a lot more. I'd like to get back to like once a week, once every 2 weeks or something like that. Like I didn't just give up. It's more I wouldn't even call it a hiatus. Like I've been posting. It's just been like once every month or once every couple months.
But you have stuff in the can ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. I got so much ready to go. And the nice thing is the views have still been pouring in from all the couple years of content. It still is just
Yeah, like an iPhone in a rock tumbler for a year. That'll never get old.
Those videos still never die. Still I'm getting like a couple 100,000 or a few million views on those every month, just sitting out and sitting there from years ago.
Well, and TikTok's now paying a lot more money, so that's helping a lot.
And the interesting
that
thing
helps
is,
you get 0G rides.
Yes, exactly. TikTok's helping a lot. The interesting thing though is views have actually been better on YouTube Shorts.
Oh,
so
really?
I've been doing a lot better on Shorts than I have been on TikTok. I don't know what it is. I've heard a lot of people. I mean, it's very subjective, but I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. Like, for whatever reason, people just aren't getting the same views. I don't know. I mean, there's still I think the same amount of watch time on TikTok, so those views have to be going somewhere. Maybe they're just going to bigger, like I don't know, dance TikTokers. I have no idea. But YouTube Shorts has just been going crazy. I mean, even without posting, hardly at all, I'm still doing 10 million a month on Shorts.
Wow.
And and on TikTok it's a few million a month, and same with Instagram. So Shorts has been a huge boost. And RPM wise, I'm getting around $3 per 1,000 views on 30 cents. So $300 per million views. That's
right,
usually
30
how I
cents.
think about it.
I was about to say, if you're getting $3 RPM on Shorts,
I'm getting
that's
30 cents RPM. So I like to think of it in terms of millions of views. It just makes it easier. So like,
well, when you're making millions of views, you can do that.
And I guess so. It's more just I'm not really classically trained in like social media. So I just I came up with that metric a long time ago, and that's what I stuck with. So about $300 per million views on YouTube versus about $1,100 on TikTok. But I'm doing more views on YouTube right now, so kind of the cash cow at the moment. But we'll be doing hopefully a lot more views soon, though, once I start posting again. Huge drop off from just not posting.
Yeah, I think you were doing like over 1 million a day in views.
Yeah, for a while I did 80. Back when I was in the hangar last, I did like 87 million a month on YouTube Shorts alone.
That's just crazy.
And TikTok was similar. So that was when I was posting routinely, though. I was,
yeah.
Ever since I've been moved and all this.
Well, you got to
stuff.
quit your day job.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's something I think about, but I mean, I just want to be an engineer for a while. I really enjoy my job, and I want to have some, credibility as an engineer. I don't want to just quit and then, not be able to go back into that field or not have any expertise in that field. So I definitely plan to do it for a while at least, and you never know, someday maybe go full time, but we'll see. I'm just happy for now, and if I can get back to making videos again so I can afford a nicer jet, then I'm still working towards that F5. So last time I said I wanted an L29, so now if anybody sees this and has an F5,
you're looking for an F5.
I don't have F5 money yet, but I have room for it. I could fit it somewhere.
All right,
I could fit it somewhere. I don't know.
So we need an F5. So if you know a guy,
if it's particularly a really crappy one, because I'll start with a really crappy one, and then we'll learn how to work on it, play with it, and then someday I just can't afford a nice one. I mean, eventually.
Well, Jack, thanks for coming and visiting with us and catching us up on what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great to be here.
And thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, not only to the channel you're watching now, but go check out Jack Schneider 17 on 17. Is that?
Yeah, you got it. Good memory.
I know, but is that like your age?
No, it's just my birthday. When I started this, I wasn't planning on doing anything like this. I just posted a couple videos that went viral, so that's why I've got the kind of lame username.
So yeah, I did remember. Jack Schneider 17, check it out. And also thank you to our sponsors like Colton Mortgage, ColtonTakingOff.com, Z-Vision, XEVision.com, MPS, Marshall Protective Services, MPS.com, and 67 Designs, 67D.com. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching One-on-One.
We are the ones that can provide the solution to the problem.
I'm having a blast.